So when Xiaomi launched the Mi A2, it was supposed to be better than the Mi A1. It's Mi A2, right? The successor to Mi A1, and Mi A1 was a whole lot better phone than other phones that Xiaomi was selling at that point of time. But at first, we found that yeah, the Mi A2 does not have a headphone jack, and that could be its only probable drawback. It also doesn't have expandable storage. But are these two things the only big drawback to the Mi A2, or there's something more? You're watching India Today Tech, I'm Rahul Sethi, and let's answer a few questions about the Mi A2. The design of the Mi A2 is quite impressive. It doesn't feel like you're holding a 17,000 rupee phone. It has curved corners, rounded edges, and fits perfectly in the hands. And if you compare it with phones like the Nokia 6.1, it's as solid but not very uncomfortable to hold. Xiaomi has managed to keep an IR blaster at the top. There are dual microphones, the fingerprint scanner is perfectly reachable, and the buttons are very tactile. Of course, you have sacrificed things for this thin design, and sometimes you feel it's worth it because in fact you are getting a very premium design at this price point, which is quite rare. And that is something I would consider a great upgrade over the Mi A1, which was also not bad, but it wasn't that streamlined. Xiaomi could have managed to make the phone a little smaller if it had used a notch display, like we've seen with devices like the Honor Play. But I think it's okay. Thin bezel design also gives you slightly more real estate over the conventional design that Mi A1 had. But what's not okay is not having a good display. Of course, it's a full HD display, and there are many phones that are still selling with 720p screens in this price segment. But there are two things that Xiaomi could have improved. First is that the contrast on the phone is not as good. So if you're watching videos and playing games, you feel the display to be a little washed out. Color production is not that great. Secondly, the brightness levels are also not that good. Even indoors, I'm using it with full brightness levels, and when I go out, I'll need to shade the display, especially during a daytime when sun is shining over your head. Now, talking about the software and hardware performance, you can be rest assured this is one of the best phones you can buy right now. The phone runs Snapdragon 660 with 4GB of RAM, and when you're using the interface, you feel like it's more than enough for the stock Android 8.1 Oreo. This is definitely an upgrade over the Mi A1, as you will see the apps open in a flick of a second, and multitasking is amazing on this device. Switching between the apps is also quite fast, and no matter how many apps are running in the background, you won't feel that slowness in the interface. If you've used the Mi A1 or any other stock Android phones, you would know how good stock Android interface is. But if you want to know how better it is than the MIUI, there are only two words to describe it: neat and clean. The stock Android interface is far less infected with third-party apps and features, and it's a very easy interface to use. Things are easy to find, be it the settings menu or the drop-down menu, and they're neatly and nicely arranged so that you're able to find them easily. And as far as the speed is concerned, it depends on how well optimized your MIUI based phone is and what all hardware it packs. But what's more important to know is that Xiaomi is lazy when it comes to Android updates. On the Mi A2, you'll get updates directly from Google, which means that you will get Android P and Android Q whenever they come, and you may not get them on your MIUI phone, and you'll also get regular security patches. As of now, the Mi A2 is running the August security patch, which is quite nice. So in terms of usability, security, and latest features, you're completely at peace. But what about the hardware performance? From simple games like the Minion Rush to complex ones like the Asphalt 8 or the PUBG, we tested a lot of games on the Mi A2. It's a delightful phone to use, and you will not find any frame drop, any lags, whatever game you throw at it. We were really surprised when A2 was able to handle PUBG quite well. It's a very graphic intensive game and uses a lot of resources, and the A2 was able to handle it pretty nicely. And in fact, not only that, compared to high-end phones that pack a bigger processor, the A2 was also able to keep it cool. It doesn't heat up, which is one of the nicest things about Snapdragon 660 phones. They give you a whole lot of power without getting furious. But one part of performance where Mi A2 get low scores is the battery department. Of course, it has fast charging and it ships with a fast charger, but the battery on board is small at 3000 mAh given the display on the phone. We were able to squeeze out one full day of usage in full battery sometimes, but in extensive use cases, the phone would not last a full day. It may not be as bad, but it's not as good as what you get on other Xiaomi phones. Now let's take a look at the cameras on Mi A2. It's a dual camera setup with 12 and 20 megapixel sensors from Sony, and the aperture is quite wide at f1.75. And yes, it's one of the best cameras you can buy right now at 17,000 rupees. Though the second lens doesn't give you 2x zoom like the Mi A1, it's a sensor to help capture more light, a setup similar to what we see on the OnePlus 6. The phone does capture good looking photos in good light with good amount of details, and the colors are mostly spot on. Even in HDR mode, the phone is quite fast, and in tricky lighting situations, this will come in quite handy. In low light, you'll see noise creeps in, but the details are kept intact, which is quite a good thing about Mi A2's cameras. But the best thing is still the portrait photography on the phone. Mi A2 literally excels at taking portrait shots in ideal lighting situations and even in low light situations, offering crisp and detailed shots with a very smooth and even DSLR-like blur. Now the front camera has a 20 megapixel sensor, which is the same thing you get on the Note 5 Pro. It's quite good and manages to capture enough detail in selfies with colors that are mostly true to source. There's also a flashlight to help you capture good selfies in low light situations, and overall it's not a bad camera to have in this price segment. So what's the deal, you're asking? Is it a great phone to buy at 17,000 rupees like the Mi A1 was at 15,000 rupees? At that price point, Mi A1 offered a lot of things, and at this price point, Mi A2 has a lot of things missing. Of course, the software is same stock Android interface, only slightly more optimized, and the hardware is such that it can handle almost everything. Now, coming to the looks, of course it's great, the build quality is great, but it's nothing that you would want to sacrifice your headphone jack for. In fact, at cheaper price point, Xiaomi already sells the Redmi Note 5 Pro, which, except the software, has everything similar to the Mi A2 and has a headphone jack. So if you want to invest in a good pair of wireless earphones, or probably you already have them, the Mi A2 may make sense to you, especially if you're looking for that stock Android experience you got on the Mi A1 and several other phones like the Nokia 6.1. After everything, the blessing in disguise for Indian market is the pricing on the Mi A2. You get it at 17,000 rupees, which is significantly less than what you get it for in European markets. But then again, let us know in the comment section below what you feel about the Mi A2 and its price and all of its features, the missing ones and the present ones. And if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel to get latest videos on tech like this. If you'd like to ask anything about the Mi A2, let us know in the comment section below as well. Thank you for watching.